up. Chiefs are chasing Josh Allen. He throws it up for grabs, and the pass is incomplete. Incomplete. And up the left sideline. I love you, Samaje Perine.
Listen to the Chiefs and Bills with pregame starting at noon. Kickoff at 3:25 right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. This is your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
Little modern day rivalry we're getting set for today. Chiefs Bills 3:25 this afternoon. You just heard it on that little preview during the break. Pregame for the show here on the Chiefs Radio Network will start at noon. So right after our show ends here this morning, after hours on 96.5 The Fan, Logan Weber alongside Jacob Mustard here to get you guys set for Week 9 of the NFL season, including this matchup between Kansas City and Buffalo. And not to fret, we will get to that just as soon as we can. 913-586-7965. We'll have Drew Nixon on with us at 11 o'clock this morning, talking a little college football. But first, can we discuss Game 7 of the World Series last night? There were no less than 8 moments while I was watching that game last night that I thought the Toronto Blue Jays are about to shock everyone and win this World Series. I mean, to their credit, I believe they have shocked everyone anyway. I don't think many people had the Toronto Blue Jays pushing this series to 7 games. I know I sure didn't. I really thought that this was a game that was going to be more along the lines of like a gentleman's sweep. This thing will go 5 games. Toronto will squeak one out and say game 2 or game 3, and they'll try to make it look a little bit more respectable, but the Dodgers have too much firepower. And to the credit of the Toronto Blue Jays, they fought, especially at the dish, man. I mean, they were so much more impressive in terms of their lineup in this series than I really expected them to be. I mean, Bo Bichette had another 2-hit day yesterday. George Springer had a 3-hit performance. Barger and Alejandro Kirk, Ernie Clement had 30 hits in this postseason. 30 of them. But it wasn't enough. The Dodgers win it 5-4. Just a strange game, man. I mean, they're down 2-4. Max Muncy hits a home run in the 8th inning to make it a 1-score game. And then, of all people, Miguel Rojas hits a solo home run in the top of the 9th to tie it up. And in every single inning that the Dodgers played from that 9th inning on, or the Blue Jays for Toronto, it seemed like they had opportunities. I mean, it starts with that strange play between Kike Hernandez and Andy Pages in the outfield, where it looked like there was going to be miscommunication. They're going to collide, and that ball's going to drop. Blue Jays are going to win the World Series. Somehow, Kike Hernandez gets absolutely bowled over, and Pages still makes the catch. And then you see, and that might have actually been in the 10th inning now that I think about it. The 9th inning, wasn't that bases loaded throw to home from Rojas to Will Smith that when you first watched it, it was like, oh my God, Will Smith pulled his foot off the bag. The Blue Jays just won the World Series. But as they kept showing the replay, at least from my vantage point, it looked like Will Smith got his foot back down on the bag right before he Kiner Falefa crossed home plate. And you're like, they were that close to winning the World Series. And then the same thing in the 10th inning. And then they go down a run after the Will Smith home run, and Vladdy Jr. barrels that baseball down the left field line. And you're thinking, is that going to get out? Well, it's a double down the line, which means you've got a runner in scoring position with nobody out in the inning. you end up with runners at first and third right after that sequence. They just had so many chances throughout this baseball game, and they just let the Dodgers hang around. And that's absolutely the last thing that you need, that you can afford to do. They end up, Guerrero doubles, and then the sacrifice bunt, which got Vladdy over to third. They walked Barger, setting up a double play ball, and then Alejandro Kirk right into the double play to end it. And there's only a couple of things that I want to point out. There were really only two players for the Dodgers that you could have considered for World Series MVP. The one that ultimately won the award, and Will Smith. And I say Will Smith because he scored the game-winning run in Game 2, that long 18-inning affair, and then did the same thing last night in Game 7 in what was only the third Game 7 in World Series history to go at least 11 innings. 1997 and 1929 or something ridiculous was the other one. It's kind of insane to have a Game 7 go extra innings in that fashion. But the World Series MVP was obviously Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And I know this is going to raise the PTSD of everyone listening to the program this morning, but Yamamoto put together a Madison Bumgarner-esque performance in this World Series. He was absolutely phenomenal, and he was the entire postseason. I mean, for him to do what he did in this World Series, in the 3 games that he pitched in, mind you, he pitched a complete game against Toronto back in, early on in this series. He then goes at Game 3 that he went, or Game 2 that he went the complete game. He then goes out 2 days ago in Game 6 and throws 6 innings of 1-run baseball. And then they throw him and they're like, hey, if you can get us 1 good inning, right? You heard the guys talking about that. Will Smith mentioned that post game, that the plan was, if Yamamoto could come in relief and give you 1 good inning, they're going to win this baseball game. He ends up throwing almost 3 innings of baseball. He picks up the win, his 3rd win of this series. There's no other way to compare it. Overall, over the course of 7 games, this man threw 17 2/3 innings of baseball and was 3-0. That's incredibly impressive. And I hate to point out the whole Madison Bumgarner comparison, but there's not really anybody to compare him to with what he did in this World Series. I can't say that I'm disappointed. Would it have been fun for the Toronto Blue Jays to win this World Series? Absolutely it would have. But I think for the good of baseball, the Dodgers needed to win. Because we should all brace ourselves for the impending lockout that's coming in 2027. The current CBA and the deferred money payments and all these things that have allowed for the Dodgers to just completely take over the sport is going to come to a screeching halt when that CBA expires in 2027. And I think a lot of it is going to be the premise of the other owners in Major League Baseball as to why there is going to be a stoppage of games for quite a while they try to figure out what the best course of action is. Because currently, baseball is as unfair as it has ever been. And I think that for the good of baseball, as much as everybody would have enjoyed watching the Blue Jays win a World Series, I think for baseball to take the right steps moving forward, whether that be a salary cap or a salary floor or both, this had to happen. It had to be the Dodgers with the billions of dollars in, salaries and deferred payments and things like that to win back-to-back World Series for the first time since, I believe, the Yankees from 98 to 2000 when they won 3 in a row. This needed to happen. And, let's all bank on the Los Angeles Dodgers doing something completely ridiculous this offseason and paying out a bunch of other crazy money to somebody. You know, the Tigers don't seem too keen on bringing back Tarek Skubal, Tarek Skubal. So who knows, right? The Dodgers seem to kind of be leaning towards possibly Roki Sasaki out of the bullpen, which would be kind of strange. He was seen as a huge starting pitching prospect, but who knows? Maybe the Dodgers will go give Skubal $600 million and defer $500 million of those payments. And then it's the most ridiculous starting pitching rotation you've ever seen in your life with 5 Cy Young winners at the top of the rotation. I don't know. Just wanted to get that out of the way. Talk a little Major League Baseball. Of course, they've already just started throwing out like early season power rankings for next year. And the Royals are actually just outside the top 10. MLB.com currently has them, or I should say ESPN has them at 11 in their first MLB power rankings for 2026. One of the big stipulations that they mention is the lack of offense from the outfield. The Royals outfielders were 29th in Major League Baseball in both home runs and OPS, on base plus slugging. That's going to be a huge priority. You know, Jack Caglianone's going to be the right fielder. You know that Kyle Isbell's going to be in center field most likely. So what happens at the left field position is going to be a major question for the Kansas City Royals, as well as the health of their starting pitching. All right, we're going to change the gears here a little bit, and we may talk for a few minutes and then take a break, but we do have a massive rivalry tonight in Orchard Park, New York. Chiefs, Bills, this is a matchup that everybody has been looking forward to since the NFL released these schedules months and months and months ago. It is one of the best regular season matchups and postseason matchups every single year. These two teams have played 8 times since Patrick Mahomes became the starting quarterback in Kansas City back in 2018. That is a lot of matchups for two teams that are in completely separate divisions in the National Football League. But when you're two of the best teams in football, you're going to see each other during the regular season because Roger Goodell and the NFL figureheads want those major matchups in the regular season. And then the likelihood of you meeting in the postseason is pretty strong when you are as good as the Bills and Chiefs have been for the last half decade plus. Right now, the Chiefs are actually 2.5-point favorites on the road against Buffalo. And the reason why, I would have to say, is number one, Josh Allen hasn't been as spectacular this year as he has been in years past. And number two, this Bills defense is on the struggle bus, injury-wise, right now. Just some of the guys who are listed on the injury report for the Buffalo Bills. Taron Johnson, who is not out as of right now. He's listed as questionable with a groin issue, I believe. Taylor Rapp, who had surgery on his injured knee this week and is being put on IR. They say he's more likely than not going to miss the remainder of the season. So they're without their top safety and quite possibly could be without one of their top cornerbacks. Shaq Thompson has been ruled out for this game due to a hamstring. Daquan Jones is out with a calf injury. Ed Oliver was put on the IR on Tuesday. TJ Sanders on IR. DeMar Hamlin was put on IR over, close to a month ago. They're without their starting place kicker in Tyler Bass. And it sounds like Joshua Palmer will not play in this game either. McDermott said Friday that he's dealing with a knee and an ankle issue, so he will not play. So this Bills team, specifically on defense, is incredibly, incredibly banged up right now. And they have not been playing well defensively to begin with. So it appears that, the Bills offensively, their wide receiver core is going to consist of Keon Coleman, who has not impressed at this point in his career. Khalil Shakir, who's going to play the slot. He's been their best wide receiver the last couple of seasons. and one of either Curtis Samuel or Elijah Moore will be that number 3 wide receiver. They, of course, have 2 pretty good tight ends in Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. The offensive line for the Bills is pretty healthy right now, led by those 2 tackles in Spencer Brown and Deion Dawkins. Then you go to the defensive side of the football. They still have Tre'Davious White. Jordan Poyer, they re-signed him and activated him, so he's more than likely going to start at strong safety tonight. Christian Benford, Maxwell Hairston, Cole Bishop. So they are healthy-ish in their secondary right now, but it's a lot of veteran guys. I mean, Tre'Davious White and Jordan Poyer, those are 2 guys who they brought back out of straight necessity, not because these guys are still, I would say, incredible talents at this point in their careers. Both of these guys have lengthy injury histories. I don't believe either one of these guys was on the team, at particular points in the year. They just had to bring them in because they needed guys. So I think this secondary can be exposed a little bit for the Kansas City Chiefs offensively. And then, their defensive line, their defensive front, specifically their edge rushers, are in a pretty good spot with Gregory Rousseau and A.J. Epinesa and Joey Bosa. But the interior of their defensive line, those 2 D tackles, outside of Ogunjobi, they don't terrify you. I think this could be a pretty big day for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll have to wait and see. We're going to continue to talk about this matchup on the other side of the break because the Bills aren't the only team with injury concerns. The Kansas City Chiefs have a couple of guys who are not going to play in this game, a couple more who are at risk of not playing in this game. We'll discuss that next and what it could mean in terms of the impact for the Chiefs Sunday against the Bills. You're listening to After Hours. Logan Weber, Jacob Mustard, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Get ready, Missouri. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming soon. Starting on December 1st, new customers in Missouri can get up to $300 in bonus bets when you make your first $5 bet. From touchdowns to three-pointers, with FanDuel, any play can be the play of the game. With live betting, you can even get in on the action after the game has already started. All on an app that's safe, secure, and easy to use. Visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to learn more. And you'll be all set to bet when FanDuel goes live in Missouri on December 1st. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri. Play your game of FanDuel, the #1 rated sportsbook app. Must be 21 and present in Missouri. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Offer starts 12/1/25. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG.
Another summer is ended, and you may have noticed that your energy is lower, your workouts aren't as productive, perhaps you aren't sleeping as well and feel foggy all the time. Maybe even your sex drive is off. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if you're experiencing some or all of these symptoms, it's likely you have low testosterone. And if that's what's going on with you, don't wait. You need to call us at Heartland Men's Health and get treated for your low T. Because living with low testosterone is no way to live. With our low T treatments, if you're like most guys, your life will change considerably. Improved sleep, better energy, greater gains in the gym, better mental clarity, and your sex drive will likely improve as well. Plus, most men see these results in just a few weeks. So call us. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes PSA and T-test and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with autopay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025, Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 in monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at tmobile.com.
96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. Wake up with Fesco and Dusty from 6 to 10. Hang out with Cody and Gold from 10 until 2. And on your way home, tune in for The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Can't listen in the car? Listen live or on demand with the Odyssey app. And watch all the shows on YouTube or your favorite social media platforms. Your home for Chiefs football. Your home for Royals baseball. Your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
We talked a little bit about the injury concerns for the Buffalo Bills going into this game this afternoon against the Kansas City Chiefs, but it's not just the Bills who are dealing with some injury concerns. Of course, we heard earlier this week that Isaiah Pacheco will not play today. Of course, Josh Simmons is still not back with the team dealing with that personal issue, so he's not going to play today either. And we've got a couple of guys along that Chiefs offensive line as well who are listed as questionable for today's game. The first is Trey Smith, who's still dealing with that back issue that he suffered against the Raiders. But according to Ian Rappaport, it sounds like they are expecting him to play. He will suit up for this afternoon's game against Buffalo. Is that a guarantee that he's going to play? Maybe not, but it does sound like that's trending in the right direction. The other is Jalen Moore, who, of course, has been the replacement for Josh Simmons at left tackle since he left the team. So if he's not able to go, because apparently he came down with a late illness later this past week in the lead up to the game and didn't practice on Friday, if he is unable to go, then you're going to expect to see a lot of Wanye Morris against that trio of edge rushers in Rousseau and Epinesa and Joey Bosa. And those three guys are fairly good edge rushers, I would say. I mean, Rousseau and Bosa especially. Bosa has been able to stay relatively healthy this year. He's got 3 sacks. Rousseau's got 2.5. Epinesa has 2.5 sacks. And this Buffalo team will send a lot of guys at you. They will, I mean, they'll send linebackers, they'll send safeties. Cole Bishop, their starting free safety, has 2 sacks already this year. So they are very similar to the Chiefs in terms of their defensive philosophy, in which they're going to try to generate pressure from anywhere on the field. And Wanye Morris, you got to be kind of nervous about what he can bring to the table in a game like this with very late notice, if he possibly has to get the start today instead of Jalen Moore. So what does it mean for the Kansas City Chiefs at the running back position with Isaiah Pacheco not playing today? Well, the first 2 things it means is that Kareem Hunt is kind of going to be the feature back for the Chiefs, right? He's not going to be a 3-down guy. Still, you should expect to see a lot of Brashard Smith on 3rd downs, maybe in a lot more 2nd and long situations as well. I expect Brashard Smith to get his biggest workload of his career to this point. But Kareem Hunt will be the guy that gets the majority of the carries. I'm not going to go out and say that that Kareem Hunt should be expected to have 20 or 25 carries in this football game, but I think 15 feels like a pretty good mark, especially if the Chiefs offense is playing at a pace and at a success rate that they are comfortable with, where they're not having to just drop back and throw the ball every play, which they may relegate to. You never know. I mean, this Bills secondary is pretty beat up, and they have been exposed in that back half of their defense. So could certainly I would have no problem with just giving the ball to 15 and saying, hey, Patrick, go do your thing in this football game, because the guy's playing like an MVP right now. It is also very interesting that the Chiefs, with Pacheco being out, had to activate a third running back, and it's not Elijah Mitchell. Not the guy that you signed during the offseason. No, it's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He is running back 3 for the Kansas City Chiefs today. And it's been sort of hilarious to see his, the jokes that have been made about it, because everybody's going back to the last, or I shouldn't say the last time, but the first time that the Kansas City Chiefs played the Buffalo Bills, Clyde Edwards-Helaire's rookie year. In that football game, he had 26 carries for 161 yards against Buffalo. Again, that was October 19th of 2020. So it's been a while. And I don't expect that to be the way that this goes today. But wouldn't it be hilarious that Clyde Edwards-Helaire just goes from not being on the roster to getting called, being activated for this matchup and has 100 yards rushing? It's not going to happen. But the joke would write itself at a certain level. So the keys to this game, I think, are very, very interesting. For my money, keys to this game for the Kansas City Chiefs: limit James Cook. I know that sounds ridiculous because you think of the Buffalo Bills, you think of Josh Allen. But this Bills offense is at its best when both Josh Allen and James Cook are threats. And if you're looking to try to limit or slow down one of them, well, the chances of slowing down James Cook are much stronger than your chances of slowing down Josh Allen. He is one of those guys in this league that you understand that more likely than not, he's going to go get his, right? Patrick Mahomes is one of those guys. Joe Burrow, for the most part, is one of those guys. Jamar Chase, these guys, they're just so talented that they're nearly impossible to rein them in terms of their productivity. James Cook has allowed this Bills offense to be at its best at certain points in the season. I mean, the guy has 753 rushing yards and 7 rushing touchdowns this year. But look at the losses, the majority of them, for this Bills team this year. In just looking at the wins and losses and the game logs for James Cook, and that win against the Ravens, that was the slowest game he's had all year. 13 carries for 44 yards and a touchdown. He then bounced back the next week against the Jets, 132 yards and 2 scores, 108 yards and a score against Miami. He has gotten roughly 600 of his 753 rushing yards in their 5 wins. He's averaging up over 120 rushing yards a game in Bills wins. He's averaging less than 75 yards rushing in their 2 losses. Slow him down and say, hey, Josh Allen, take Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid and beat us. Makes you wonder a little bit how much Mike Pennell is going to play in this football game today, right? He was signed earlier in the week after he requested his release from the Cincinnati Bengals. It took less than 24 hours. I mean, it was funny to me. I was hosting the show Tuesday night when they made the announcement that Cincinnati was cutting Mike Pennell, and everybody's like, oh, Mike Pennell back to the Chiefs. It's guaranteed. It's going to happen. Bob Fesco was reporting on it Tuesday night. And by Wednesday afternoon, this man was at practice in the indoor of the Chiefs training facility. It was that fast. So how much he plays is going to be an interesting tell, right? I would love to see more snaps for him, especially against a Bills team that wants to run the football versus Derek Nottie. If we could see a front 4 that is George Karlaftis and Charles Omenihu or Ashton Gelati at the edge, Chris Jones and Mike Pennell on the interior with guys like Nottie and Jerry Tillery rotating in sparingly, periodically throughout the game, I think that's the best case scenario. Pennell is a gap eater. He is a run stuffer. That is what he does. The problem is going to become, if you do slow down the running attack, what kind of success are you going to have getting to the quarterback? That could be a serious problem for the Kansas City Chiefs in this football game today. All in all, though, I like the way that this shapes up for the Kansas City Chiefs, especially for their offense and their wide receiver core. I have been going back and forth all week because I'm putting together, I put together like 2 or 3 parlays a week, right, for different games. And I am I have no idea who the wide receiver of choice is going to be today, right? I know that Xavier Worthy had a ton of success against the Buffalo Bills last year, especially in that playoff game. But Rashee Rice didn't play. Rashee is back. And in 2 games, he's got 19 targets. He's getting nearly 10 targets a game since he came back to the team. He's been really, really good. He was better last week than he was against the Raiders. So I really lean towards Rashee Rice having a lot of success in this football game. But Xavier Worthy is such a matchup nightmare for the Buffalo Bills, and he was so good against them last year. I'm avoiding both of them today because they both might have 100 yards plus in this football game. They both might have less than 60 yards in this game. Maybe this is a game where Travis Kelce has 100 yards. The thing I'm most confident in is that I think Patrick Mahomes could have 300 passing yards in this game. Right now, I'm looking at Underdog Fantasy. He's at 271.5 is where the line is for Patrick Mahomes. I really feel like hitting that. I really feel like going higher on that pick when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. They've got Travis Kelce at 43.5 receiving yards. I feel pretty good about going higher on that too. But for some reason, with these 2 wide receivers, I feel like they're either both going to have a huge day or only one of them is going to have a huge day. And I just know in my heart of hearts that I'm going to pick the wrong one. So I don't know what to think. I will say, though, they only have Xavier Worthy at 49.5 receiving yards. That's not a terrible number. They have Rashee Rice at 73.5, which feels like a lot. But I have to say, I do love the idea of Patrick Mahomes higher than 271.5 passing yards. We'll see what happens, man. But I like the way that this shapes up for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll get into some, I guess, more NFL previews and maybe some predictions when we get into the 11 o'clock hour. So I'll hold off on what I believe is going to be the final score of today's game. My prediction will hold off until we get to the 11 o'clock hour. 913-586-7965 is our number. Give me some of your keys for today's game between the Chiefs and the Bills. What's going to help the Chiefs win? What's going to help the Bills win coming up tonight, 3:25 p.m.? What are some of your big prop bets for today's game? It doesn't even have to be Chiefs-Bills. It can be any NFL game. Things you feel good about. You got that Jonathan Taylor anytime touchdown in your parlay today? That's a good selection on your part. We can talk about that more here on After Hours. Logan Weber alongside Jacob Mustard. 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State. New Missouri customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today. And when we go live, place just a $5 bet to unlock $300 in bonus bets. Starting November 17th, you can create your DraftKings Sportsbook account in Missouri and get ready for launch day on December 1st. DraftKings Sportsbook brings you everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, betting, lightning fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Hi, I'm Dustin, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As director of diamond sourcing, it's my job to make sure every single diamond is worthy of a Shane Company engagement ring. Our team travels the world to see diamonds in person and handpick each one. That type of dedication only comes from working for a company that's been a family business since 1929. No matter your budget, your diamond is guaranteed to be the most beautiful because a friend wants you to pick from only the best. Drop by your store or shaneco.com and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine. You could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt. But you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. But listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. That's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. Cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. Imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt. And you can stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. Get your all-cash offer now. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Within the cities we call home, Busey Bank is more than a name. It's a commitment to your dreams. With Busey, trusted guidance is tailored to empower you every step of the way. Whether it's seamlessly managing your finances or planning for your future, Busey is dedicated to your financial success. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
My job here on After Hours is to broach the tough subjects, Jacob. And we have a tough subject, you know? It's November 2nd. We're 2 days post-Halloween. And based off of my experience this weekend, I have a question to ask you and you at home. 913-586-7965. When is it an appropriate time to get into the Christmas spirit? When is it okay, in your opinion, to start putting up the Christmas lights and the decor and blaring the Christmas, the Pentatonics, the Michael Bublé, the Paul McCartney Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time in the car and on the Alexa at home? Jacob, we'll start with you. What are we thinking?
Black Friday. That's about as simple as I go. Let me get through Thanksgiving first.
You know, that's a respectable answer.
I'm not going to discredit Thanksgiving, and I will enjoy that time. And usually, while everybody's shopping, gives time to put up the Christmas tree.
It's fair. That's the way it was when I was growing up. We would celebrate Thanksgiving, and then on Black Friday, growing up in Lawson, Missouri, where I grew up on the north side of the metro, there was a Christmas tree farm over in Kearney. And on Black Friday every year, we would drive over to that Christmas tree farm and we would cut down a tree. We had a real tree when I was growing up. Not the entire time I was growing up, but like right about when I got into middle school, like through high school, we always would go cut down a real Christmas tree. And Black Friday was always the day that we would start putting up our Christmas decorations. However, that's the way I grew up. That is not the way I feel. So, yesterday, actually, I was back at my parents' house. and I helped my dad put up the Christmas lights yesterday. My wife convinced my mom to buy Christmas lights for their house because they're they have the app on them and you can change the color of. So they're like year-round lights. You just put them up once and they stay up. But I will say, for me personally, I'll start listening to Christmas music in October. I'm sorry.
Idiot, man.
I'm sorry. I'm one of those people that I do not hate when places like Walmart or Hobby Lot or wherever starts putting out their Christmas decorations. I don't get upset when I see a Christmas commercial on my TV in the middle of October. I'm sorry. I do not like Halloween. It is my least favorite holiday on planet Earth. I don't enjoy it. I didn't really like it when I was a kid. I do not enjoy it as an adult. Maybe once I have children and I can celebrate Halloween with my kids, I will. I will say I had more fun this last Halloween than any Halloween I've had in the last half decade plus, because now that we're back in the metro area, my wife and I were able to go trick-or-treating with my niece and nephew. And it was a ton of fun. My nephew was a dirt bike rider, and my niece was Taylor Swift for Halloween. She had on a nice red sequined ruby jacket with an 8-7 on it. And I always enjoyed, I love that part of it with the littles and how much they enjoy Halloween. My job was to drive the car around, to trail them in the vehicle, which is the absolute worst job because it gets to be about 7 o'clock at night and you can't see in front of you anymore. And there are just children and parents frantically crossing the street to get from house to house. And you got to keep your head on a swivel. Cannot rest on your laurels for 1 second or something catastrophic might happen. I do not like driving the car, but nature of the beast. Outside of that, I don't really like Halloween. I don't like scary movies. They're my least favorite thing on the planet. All right. And as an adult, you start understanding how dangerous Halloween can be in terms of crime and things of that nature. I just don't like it. So I'm one of those people. I'm going to be point blank honest right now. I was listening to Christmas music on the car on the way here. I was. I mean, how are you going to decorate for Thanksgiving? How do you just put up brown leaves? What? You want me to start putting turkeys in my yard? What are we doing? How am I decorating for Thanksgiving, my guy? I like Thanksgiving. It's fun. I just eat food and then it's Christmas. Move on. It's Christmas season. It's what it is.
I think a lot of I wouldn't know. I don't know if I'd call it hate, but a lot of it comes from retail workers having to listen to Mariah Carey and Christmas music starting this early, and they have to listen to it for 2 whole months. So I don't know if that's where a lot of people, like you said, you don't mind it if you're shopping in Walmart and it's going on. But yeah, you're not in there all day.
No.
So I don't know if that's where a majority of the distaste for it comes from. I don't know. I'm not going to listen to Christmas music until after Thanksgiving. I won't willingly choose it. And if a radio station comes on with it, it's probably getting switched off.
Fair. To each their own, right? That's just kind of who I am. I got an 816 here in the text line that says, I don't know about music and all of that, but it is acceptable to put up Christmas decorations now because it's a lot to do. And if you wait until after Thanksgiving, it's not enough time to enjoy it for just a month. I
agree. The weather's nice.
Exactly. My next point was going to be, it's a lot easier. It was a lot easier yesterday to put up Christmas lights when the high was in the 50s versus when you get after Thanksgiving and you'll be lucky if the high is in the 40s, right? I don't want to be up on a ladder when the high is 38 degrees hanging up Christmas lights and freezing my every extremity off over the course of the afternoon and evening.
Well, and I think I've seen a couple texts as well. People leave lights up all year round and just have them off or disconnected. No, I don't mind doing that stuff either.
Yeah.
If you want to leave them up all year, I mean, we've seen with nowadays lights, Christmas lights inside have become room decorations and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so I'm not hating on those.
My wife and I, we bought Christmas lights because we actually have a house for the first time. We've always lived in apartments, but now we have a home that we can decorate. We bought Christmas lights, but they are all year-round lights. They have they're connected to Wi-Fi. They have an app that we can download on our phones where we can change the color. So those are the same lights that my parents bought, and my mom and dad's house is lit up red and yellow today for the Kansas City Chiefs, right? So you can change the color anytime. You can make it pink and red on Valentine's Day, and you can make it brown and yellow on Thanksgiving, or black and orange for Halloween, all those different things. So that's kind of nice. I got another person that says, day after Thanksgiving, but my wife is already putting Christmas stuff up. Puke, it is my daughter's birthday, though. All right. Fair. Again, to each their own a little bit, you know. Christmas and manliness are never out of season. All right. Sure. Someone says, I left my tree up the entire year, really tied the room together so there wasn't a blank space in my apartment, or I'm lazy. Either or, man. The number of times, like my wife and I, it would get to like early February and we would be like, the tree's still up. Like, all the other decorations are done, but the Christmas tree and all the decorations on the tree, because that's an overwhelming thing, man. Like, putting up the Christmas tree is one thing, and, like, we're looking right now, we're trying to find a pre-lit Christmas tree. Because not having the pre-lit Christmas tree can kind of be a pain, a little bit.
So, on that note, my mom has found some Christmas tree lights, and it's kind of like a circle above, so you put it, it fits into the tree, but you slide it over the top of the tree, and then it has strands hanging down so you can weave them in between. She's gone to the point where she doesn't want to do that anymore. So she doesn't want to, like you said, putting up the lights are a pain. Well, and all the random ones that go out, too.
Yes, dude. And, like, making that look nice, and then, like, it's awful. I can't stand it. Bah humbug. Oh, wow. Somebody's full Ebenezer Scrooge in it in the text line. Oh, I see it. Somebody in the top says, the fact that you have a wife is astounding. All right. Rude.
They must not know you're like, what, pushing 40 now?
Okay, that's not, no. Almost 28. It's hurtful. Something tells me that that was not an age-related dig. That was something a little bit more disgusting. I'm not sure that's a very nice person, now that I think about it. 913-586-7965 is our number. If you actually have something important to bring to the table in this show and not just jokes about me having a wife or not, that would be much appreciated. After hours here on 96.5 The Fan, Logan Weber alongside Jacob Mustard. We'll change our gears, talk a little bit more National Football League, maybe some prop bets and things of that nature here on the other side. 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown of the game, but his teammate scores instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. With BetMGM's second chance offer, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. Try a first TD score wager with confidence today. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-242-3131. 800-242-3131.
Morning, Zoe. Got donuts.
Jeff Bridges, why are you still living above our garage?
Well, I dig the mattress, and I want to be in a T-Mobile commercial like you. Teach me, Saldana.
Oh, no, I'm not really prepared. I couldn't possibly. At T-Mobile, get the new iPhone 17 Pro on them. It's designed to be the most powerful iPhone yet and has the ultimate pro camera system.
Wow, impressive. Let me try. T-Mobile is the best place to get iPhone 17 Pro because they've got the best network.
Nice, Jeffrey.
You heard them. T-Mobile is the best place to get the new iPhone 17 Pro on us with eligible trade-in in any condition.
So, what are we having for lunch?
Dude, my work here is done.
The 24 monthly bill credits on Experience Beyond for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits ended. Balance due if you pay off earlier. Cancel. Finance agreement. iPhone 17 Pro, 256 gigs, $1,099.99, and new line minimum $100 plus a month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees required. Best mobile network in the U.S. based on analysis by Oak Cliff Speed Test Intelligence data 1H 2025. Visit T-Mobile.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
All right, let's get into some prop bets tonight. All right. I've got a couple that I put together so far. Unfortunately, I live on the Missouri side, and so I can't quite do over-unders and things like that. So I have to stick with the player props and things of that nature. I've got a couple here, and I want to hear from you guys about some of the others that you have put together. So the first one I have is, again, I use Underdog Fantasy, is a champions pick, and I've got three. I've got the Jonathan Taylor anytime touchdown. He's been a pretty much a layup on that all year long, you know, and I feel like that trend should only continue. This Colts team is playing an astonishing level of football this year, and Jonathan Taylor, 12 rushing touchdowns this year, and has scored a touchdown in, I believe, 7 of the Colts' 8 games so far this season. He didn't score week 1 against the Dolphins, but he scored against Denver and against Tennessee. Didn't score against the Rams. Okay, so he scored in 6 of 8 games so far this year. I love the idea of Jonathan Taylor, especially with the productivity that he's put together over the last 4 weeks, where he has got 9 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown in the last 4 games. I'm rolling with Jonathan Taylor on an anytime touchdown. I also like Bijan Robinson higher than 38.5 receiving yards. He has been extremely effective catching the ball out of the backfield. Reminds me of kind of how Saquon Barkley was used early in his career with the Giants, or even Christian McCaffrey with the Panthers. He had Kirk Cousins last week, didn't have Michael Penix, who has been much more open to throwing Bijan the ball out of the backfield. Now that Penix is back at QB, I think that will pick itself back up. I've also got Patrick Mahomes higher than that 271.5 passing yards that we were talking about. So I really like the idea of those three. That's a $10 entry that'll pay out a little over $41. I try to keep it small. I'm not a huge like $100 here and $100 there kind of guy. Not really at that point yet. And then I had another. This was a 4-player parlay. Xavier Worthy higher than 49.5 receiving yards. I just feel like that's a really low marker for him. He had so much success against the Bills last year. I think that Kansas City may try to find unique ways to get him the football in space to try to make some things happen and try to take the top off the defense. You know, when half of that secondary is made up of Jordan Poyer and Tre'Davious White, 2 guys who were cut by this organization less than a year ago and are now back with the team and starting, I feel like Worthy's got a shot with his caliber of speed to get past the defense and maybe pick up one big, like 40-yard pass that will break things open for him in terms of his total receiving yards. I also have Xavier Worthy higher than 3.5 rushing yards in this game. Do not be surprised if you see Andy Reid and Matt Nagy in this Chiefs offense try to come up with unique ways to get the running game going that don't involve their running backs as often, right? We haven't seen Xavier Worthy getting the ball in rushing situations a lot this year, but they did do it a lot against the Bills a season ago. And again, it comes back to trying to use your receivers in the running game or in the screen game as an extension of what you try to do with your backs out of the backfield to make things happen. Higher than 3.5 rushing yards for Xavier Worthy, one jet sweep for 4 yards, and you've made your hay on that one. I also have Brashard Smith higher than 13.5 rushing yards. He puts together, 5 yards or 5 carries for 3 yards a pop. 15 right there. I think you could see that kind of day out of Brashard Smith. He'll get a little bit more run, I would say, out of the backfield as a running back as well as a pass catcher for this Chiefs team. And I actually have James Cook lower than 73.5 rushing yards. Again, what are Steve Spagnuolo and this Chiefs defense really, really good at? Stopping what it is you do best. What does this Bills team do best? Run the football. When James Cook is going, I said it at the beginning of the show. When he runs the ball well, it makes it incredibly hard for this Bills offense to hum at its highest peak. You slow down James Cook, you keep him under 73.5 rushing yards, especially if you do it in the first half. Like if James Cook is sitting at like 10 or 12 carries for less than 50 yards in that first half, more likely than not, I would be willing to bet the Chiefs are winning that football game, possibly by a couple of scores, which is going to mean Josh Allen dropping back to pass and trying to will the Bills back into the football game through the air, which will limit James Cook's productivity because they won't have the luxury of continuing to run the football because they're going to have to score and score quickly to keep pace with what the Chiefs want to do offensively. That's what I'm looking at. I make absolutely no guarantees that either of these will hit. I have had very, very slim success betting on the NFL so far this year. I've had more success on the NBA in 1 week. Austin Reeves made me quite a bit of money last week. Just hitting the overs on his points this week has really benefited me. But the NFL, the last couple of weeks, I've been pretty hit or miss on it. We'll see what happens today. 913-586-7965 is our number. Coming up on the other side, we're going to have Drew Nixon on with us. He is the midday producer of Cody and Gold. He's also the host of the 249 Miles of College Football podcast here on the Odyssey Network. We're going to talk a little college football here on After Hours. Logan Weber, Jacob Mustard, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Get ready, Missouri. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming soon. Starting on December 1st, new customers in Missouri can get up to $300 in bonus bets when you make your first $5 bet. From touchdowns to three-pointers, with FanDuel, any play can be the play of the game. With live betting, you can even get in on the action after the game has already started. All on an app that's safe, secure, and easy to use. Visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to learn more. And you'll be all set to bet when FanDuel goes live in Missouri on December 1st. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri. Play your game of FanDuel, the #1 rated sportsbook app. Must be 21 and present in Missouri. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Offer starts 12/1/25. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG.
At Casey's, we're too nice to say no. So when someone asked for a free frozen drink, we said, sure. Then they said, every Friday all summer? And, well, now we're giving away free medium frozen drinks every Friday. Free Frozen Fridays with Casey's Rewards. It's not crazy, it's Casey's. See store for details.
Hi, we're the people who have everything.
There's nothing you can get us we don't have.
We have 7 mini vacuums.
And Pearl handled
pickleball rackets.
See? Need a gift for someone who has everything? The Kansas Lottery has you covered with holiday scratch tickets in $1, $2, $5, $10, and $20 options with instant wins up to $100,000. You could win even more in second chance drawings.
Did he say thousands?
We could always use that.
See kslottery.com for details.
Hey, Mr. C, it's me. Well, I just picked up the ring. I actually went to Hellsberg. Thanks for that recommendation. Kate's gonna love that hers is from the same jeweler you got Mrs. C's ring from. They were so helpful throughout the whole process. They even knew your family by name, and the ring looks great. Anyways, I just couldn't wait to let you guys know. Call me back and wish me luck.
Hellsberg, designed with care and craft since 1915. Shop in store or at hellsberg.com.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face when it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La 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 la.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
We all know that Sundays in the fall are reserved for the National Football League, as well as in the winter. But that doesn't mean we can't discuss what happened on Saturdays, which are owned by college football in the fall and winter. And on the line with us right now to talk a little college football is Drew Nixon. He is the producer for Cody and Gold middays here on 96.5 The Fan, as well as the host of the 249 Miles of College Football podcast. And Drew, another eventful Saturday in college football. What impressed you most from yesterday's slate of games? If you had to pick one particular team's performance.
Man, I think it's really tough to do that. But I would say, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say Indiana.
Fair.
I'm going to go a little bit off to the side because I was tempted to say Texas. I really was. And Arch Manning and how good he looked in the matchup. He's been better. But I feel like Indiana is doing something that they kind of did last year, but it feels like they're just better than they were a year ago. And when we talk about legit national title contenders, it's really hard to argue against Indiana being that. And they keep on showing it week in and week out, just like Ohio State does.
I mean, you look at what they've done this year, and I know that there's going to be those people who say, oh, well, Indiana hasn't really played anybody outside of the road wins against Iowa and Oregon, but they're right about that. You can't necessarily argue it, but then you look at the margin of victory and say, yeah, well, they may not be playing very good football teams, but they are dismantling those really bad football teams. They have an average margin of victory at close to 30 a game this year, maybe even over 30 a game after yesterday's blowout against Maryland. And with Penn State, Wisconsin, and Purdue left on the schedule, this Indiana team is more likely than not, barring something crazy, going to be undefeated and playing against Ohio State in a Big Ten championship game for a shot at possibly the 1 seed and a first-round bye in this 12-team playoff. Curt Cignetti is doing something nobody thought was possible with the Indiana Hoosiers.
Yeah, it's crazy because up until Curt Cignetti had gotten there, their best season was 8-4, period. 8-4, bowl game. He won double-digit games, already did that, and now he's got them right back into the playoff. They're basically going to make the playoff again unless they totally fall apart, which I don't see happening, obviously. So it'd be back-to-back seasons, double-digit wins, playoff appearances. Like, all of a sudden, Indiana, dare I say, is becoming a football school, which is kind of crazy to say. But, I mean, you mentioned some of the other things along with the schedule. When you can beat and dominate teams that are on your schedule, I think you have to be taken a little bit more seriously, where it stands out a little bit more. It's kind of like the Colts in the NFL, where the Colts their schedule is kind of light, but they're beating everybody by 10 points or more, which is a blowout in the NFL. Like, they're beating everybody big. Indiana's doing that too, which is where I think you have to you can't play it might just be a one-hit wonder Cinderella story type of card anymore, because they're proving not just what they did last year, but what this year too, that they're legit and they need to be taken seriously, not just from Big Ten circles, but from SEC circles as well.
I mean, so far this year, they're outscoring their opponents 418 to 97. And that's maybe the most impressive part for me. And we'll see if you feel the same, is that it's not just that they pass the ball really, really well. You know, Fernando Mendoza is one of the Heisman frontrunners right now, but they average over 150 rushing yards a game. And so far this season, they are barely giving up 10 points per game on the defensive side of the football. They are really just an incredibly well-rounded football team in all three phases and in every single part of those three phases for this football team.
No, yeah, 100%. I agree. And it feels like their roster, like last year was good, and Curt Cignetti elevated them to a playoff basically, where this year it feels like they've got obviously the coach, but they've also got the talent pool with players coming back and what he did in the portal. Obviously, you mentioned Fernando Mendoza. They got a trio of wide receivers who are legit and can be NFL players next season. Like, it feels like the roster is built to not just win 8 or 9 games, but to go to a playoff and compete for a Big Ten title and who knows what else. I mean, if you're competing for a Big Ten title with Ohio State, you know what that also means, and that's you're in the realm of possibility legitimately to win a national title, which still sounds crazy, but you know, there's other teams that are fitting in this belt of newcomers, but teams that are legit and I think might be hanging around. Like, you look at Vanderbilt. I know that they lost to Texas, but it feels like there's been a change of things where Clark Lee is getting that program to be a consistent team that has to be reckoned with in the SEC. I know Georgia Tech lost. We might get to them, but Brett Key has done a nice job of getting them into playoff contention. It feels like there's newcomers in college football this season, which I think makes the sport so much more fun to follow. You have some of the traditional powers, but seeing newcomers in the pool of things, and not only are those coaches getting their teams there, but they're also getting recruiting classes that are good, and they're signing extensions to stay at those places. Like, there's a change in college football happening.
Oh, no question about it. And we'll definitely get to a few of those teams as we go along here, but I kind of want to change gears here a little bit and discuss some of the regional teams here, the teams that you, of course, cover on your 249 Miles of College Football podcast. Mizzou had the bye, so they didn't play yesterday, but we saw KU and K-State both come out and put up pretty different performances after last week's Sunflower Showdown. KU gets a big win over a lowly Oklahoma State team, but a win's a win. They take it 38-21. And just like that, KU is right back to competing for bowl eligibility again at 5-4. What did you see from the Jayhawks yesterday, and how do you see the rest of their season shaping up with 3 games left and needing just one win to get that illustrious 6th victory in bowl eligibility?
So I think the way that you described it was perfect, is that a win is a win, because at halftime it was 10-7, and Oklahoma State had missed a 20-yard field goal to tie it. So they easily could have been tied with Oklahoma State, who stinks this year. So going into half, I'm sure that people were not too happy, but they were able to get the job done, and I think that's all you can really ask for, given how college football is that week-to-week sort of, sport where you might be like Texas, for instance. They almost lost to Kentucky, but they found a way to win. All of a sudden, 2 weeks later, they beat Vanderbilt. I think for Kansas, you find a way to win those games, and you continue to push towards that bowl eligibility that you said, based on the schedule, they've got a very realistic shot for. Here's the remaining schedule for the Kansas Jayhawks. Obviously, you mentioned that they are at 5-4 for the season. The next 3 games for them are KU against Arizona, that's on the road. Then they get a bye before going to Iowa State, and then they host Utah. So they probably need to beat Arizona for you to realistically say they get to a bowl game, obviously, because if they lose to Arizona and they're 5-5, can they beat Iowa State? Can they beat Utah? I'm not so sure about that. But putting themselves in position to still get a bowl game is something that I feel like is a necessity for them. It sounds kind of weird because a few weeks ago we were talking about how great Kansas looked and everything like that leading up to the Sunflower Showdown. Now all of a sudden, well, they need to beat Arizona, otherwise they might not make a bowl game. It's kind of nuts how the Big 12 is shaped up where any given Saturday something crazy can happen. And I think if you were to tell Kansas Jayhawk fans that they were 3-1 to start the season, 4-2 after 6 games, if they didn't make a bowl game, then I think that puts a little bit of pressure on Lance Leipold going into next season, just given the fact that they lost to K-State in embarrassing fashion. And if they were to miss out on a bowl game again, it would be really difficult, I think, to stomach that if you're a KU fan.
Oh, no question about it. And then on the other side of the state in Manhattan, it was a game that I don't think anybody should have expected or anticipated Kansas State to win. They lose to Texas Tech 43-20. And they're now in a position at 4-5 where they have to win 2 of their last 3 games, but their schedule a little bit lighter than the Jayhawks. What did you see yesterday against the Red Raiders, and what should they be looking for out of these last 3 games with Oklahoma State, Utah, and Colorado?
So to talk about the Texas Tech game, it's crazy. Like Texas Tech was the better team, I would say. However, Kansas State shot themselves in the foot multiple times. They were down just 9 points going into that fourth quarter. They had a legitimate shot to make some things happen. But when you have 5 turnovers, Logan, it never, ever bodes well against good football teams. I know they forced 2 from Texas Tech, but you're -3 in the turnover margin. You're never going to beat a good team in your conference. And obviously that didn't happen yesterday. One of the things that was interesting is it felt like K-State was they were on par. They were down 29-14, and then they score a touchdown. And instead of kicking the field goal to be down 8, they go for 2 and they don't get it to go down 9. I understand some of the logic, but if you just get yourself to 1 possession, you don't know how many more possessions you're going to have. So if you get to where you're down 29-21, K-State got the ball back 2 different times when they were down 29-20. If they would have gotten a score, you go for 2, all of a sudden the game's tied, but obviously that didn't matter in hindsight given how the game ended. But you can't shoot yourselves in the foot, whether it's the Jace Brown fumble, the Garrett Oakley fumble, Avery Johnson having 2 interceptions, or the late fumble after the game was kind of over at that point anyways. But when you play good football teams, you cannot afford to have those sort of mistakes if you want to be able to win that game. It felt like Kansas State was able to go with Texas Tech. It just ended up being too many mistakes that ended up making the score a 23-point difference. For the remainder of their schedule, I think they've got a legit shot at making a bowl game when you look at Oklahoma State and Colorado. Colorado have been really bad the last 2 weeks. Oklahoma State, we know how bad they are. And Utah's interesting because the way Kansas State played against Texas Tech, I know they lost the game by 20-plus points, but for the most part, it felt like if they can give that sort of a performance minus the turnovers, then they can beat Utah. I know it's a tough place to play, but the K-State team that we've seen here over the last 3 weeks, outside of the turnovers from this most recent game, is they're talented enough to beat the really good teams in the conference. So maybe 7-5 is possible, but I still would expect them to make a bowl game, at least be 6-6, and then see if they can make it a winning season.
So as we rotate ourselves back to more of the national slate of games that we were talking about earlier, there's a couple things I want to ask you about. And first, we'll just start with what was maybe the worst loss for a top 25 team this week? You mentioned Georgia Tech losing to a North Carolina State team that was 500 and 1-3 in the ACC. Was it how the Yellow Jackets performed yesterday? Was it the collapse by Miami against SMU? Which team kind of hurt their chances of getting to that 12-team playoff most, in your opinion?
And if we're talking just solely the playoff, then I think it's Miami, because I still think there is a legitimate shot, because if we're going to continue to have Notre Dame in the conversation, then Miami should absolutely still be in the conversation to make it to the college football playoff. But I will say, I think Georgia Tech's losses may be worse from the standpoint of just bad losses. SMU has a similar roster to that of which made the playoff last year. They haven't had things fully materialize. Kevin Jennings played well. They end up coming back and winning the game. I think it's worse for Miami from a playoff perspective, if that makes any sense. Because, again, the playoff standings come out for the first time this week on Tuesday. The playoff rankings do from the CFP. So we'll get a gauge for how they feel about everybody. inside of the top 25. I would say it's the Miami loss in terms of the playoff, but for Georgia Tech, I think just in terms of bad losses, that one takes the cake, just given their momentum. If they win that game, they're 9-0, 6-0 in conference play. They all but guarantee themselves a shot at winning the ACC because they're probably in the ACC title game. Now for Georgia Tech, it is interesting, though, when you bring up the playoff conversation. They've got Boston College next week. Or in 2 weeks. They should be able to win that one. Pitt is salty. They're a difficult opponent, and then they host Georgia. So, I mean, it would really be a bad collapse for Georgia Tech if they were to totally fall apart. I think it was a bad loss, but I don't think it hurts themselves from a playoff perspective unless they lose to Pitt and Georgia after that, which maybe they should, given the team that we've seen, they should be able to handle Pitt and Boston College, and we'll see about Georgia. But it was a bad loss, the worst one of the weekend in terms of losses. But I still think Miami, because Miami now, Logan, this is crazy. Miami right now, they're 2-2 in conference play. They are 7th in the ACC right now. And they look like the best team in the country 3 weeks ago. Yeah. It's crazy how things shift so fast.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, they're right now. I mean, even if they win out, they are gonna need help in order to get to an ACC championship game. And even if you go 10-2 the rest of the way for Miami, you don't get to your own conference championship game. That's really going to hurt your chances of getting in to that 12-team playoff, especially in a league like the ACC, which isn't looked at as a 3 or a 4 bid league the same way that the Big Ten or the SEC is being represented nationally. And
yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head.
You and I are both Big Ten guys, so I kind of want to run down the slate of games we saw in the Big Ten. We talked about Indiana throttling Maryland, but there were some other big-time performances yesterday. Ohio State did what they were supposed to do against a lowly Penn State team. USC got a huge road win against Nebraska, aided by the fact that Dylan Raiola went down with an injury. But I'm wondering what you thought of this Michigan-Purdue game. Michigan wins, right, 21-16, but another sort of lackluster performance from Bryce Underwood. He continues to be a little bit underwhelming as a freshman, beating a Purdue team that was winless in the Big Ten by just 5 points. What do you make of Michigan right now in terms of the Big Ten slate of games?
So in terms of Michigan, I feel like they're even from the beginning of the season, it felt like they were a year away because I think the hype for Bryce Underwood should still be legit. I think he is playing with a wide receiver core that is not particularly great by any sort of standard of like contending for a national title or a Big Ten title. Like I think the argument around Bryce Young is wait till Michigan gets some good wide receivers and then he's really going to take off. I like the fact that Michigan is. It's weird. I feel they're a year away, but they're letting Bryce Underwood make all the mistakes. They're letting him get this freshman year out of the way. Where hey man, this is what it's going to be like going up against this conference. There's going to be some bumps and bruises this year. There's going to be some games that you look really bad in. There's going to be some games that you look good in. But the hope is over the course of the season, by the time we're done, you get your comfort level to a point where going into next season, when we get some better wide receivers in here, a better group of players, that we can then go and compete for a Big Ten championship and a playoff spot. I think Michigan's kind of going to always be Michigan, the way that they do things. Like even with Sharon Moore, they're going to run the ball, and that's the way that they're going to do things. Now it's hoping that Bryce Underwood can take that next step, finishing off this season and then going into next year. I don't consider it a bad – no win is a bad win. But I understand the premise of Purdue are really bad. They're rebuilding with Barry Odom, and you should beat Purdue by more than that. I don't know if I'm going to make more of it than just one of those wins where you found a way to get it done. And I don't think the expectation is to make the playoff, though, for Michigan. But if you look at the schedule, the remainder of the way, they got Northwestern, Maryland, and then Ohio State. If they somehow run the table and beat Ohio State again, then maybe they actually make the college football playoff. But I get the premise of Bryce Underwood has not looked as good as what we may think the number one quarterback in the country should have looked like, at least for his first season playing.
Visiting with Drew Nixon. He's the midday producer of Cody and Gold here on 96.5 The Fan. He also hosts the 249 Miles of College Football podcast. And Drew, I want to close out our conversation with just the overall outlook of the college football playoff. You know, there's still a ton of opportunities in front of many, many teams across the country in terms of being able to get into that 12-team playoff. But if you had to kind of put your finger on 4 or 5 teams that you feel overwhelmingly confident will get into the CFP, who would those 4 or 5 teams be?
All right. I would say Ohio State, Indiana, Alabama, and Georgia.
Okay. No Texas A&M?
I would say yes, but they still have Texas on the schedule. They still have Missouri on the schedule. I'm not saying Missouri. I think Missouri is going to beat them or anything like that. I think A&M would make it. If you gave me a 5th one, I would say A&M is that 5. I would basically give you the top 5 currently because of the wins that Georgia's put together. Alabama looks like a bit of a wagon again. Ohio State and IU, of course, are dominating play. I feel like I would give you the top 5 currently in the AP, but maybe it's just because I don't feel as confident in A&M to make a run in the playoffs. But to make it, I think Alabama, Georgia, IU, and Ohio State, you can lock those teams in, at least right now, I would say.
I agree with you. I definitely agree. Drew, appreciate you taking the time this morning. Enjoy being able to visit with you and talk college football. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy some NFL. And somebody in the text line said, "Good morning, Drew. Go Bengals."
Hey, I appreciate it. If the Bengals can win and the Colts beat the Steelers, we might be back, baby. We might be back. Thank you, Logan, for having me.
No problem at all. That is Drew Nixon. Again, he is the midday producer for Cody and Gold here on 96.5 The Fan. Also does a great job with his 249 Miles of College Football podcast. That's here through the Odyssey Network. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts. Logan Weber alongside Jacob Mustard here on After Hours, 913-586-7965 is our number. It's Sunday. It's NFL time. Let's talk a little pro football when we come back. We're going to go game by game, break them down for you, give you our predictions coming up next. This is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Don't you just love an NFL Sunday? You got your boys, your couch, your snacks, your favorite games, and FanDuel is sprinkling in something a little bit extra. This isn't just a normal NFL Sunday. It's your chance to place that perfect parlay or hit your favorite go-to player prop, and they're making it even better at FanDuel because they're bringing the bonuses. That's right. All customers can get a 50% profit boost on any NFL bet. So however you play your game, FanDuel's got your back when it comes to putting a little extra into your account because that's what Sundays should feel like. Visit FanDuel.com. Use my promo code KFNZ to download the app and get in on the action right before kickoff. And remember, FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of 96.5 The Fan and also the NFL. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Get out with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine. You could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt. But you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. But listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. That's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. Cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. Imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt. And you can stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. Get your all-cash offer now. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Hi, I'm Becca, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. As an in-house designer, I can't wait for you to see our incredible selection of stylish and stackable rings. If you're shopping for your wedding bands, we have high-quality designs for every style and budget, from romantic to modern. If you're looking to add to a stack, your options are endless. Discover styles with clusters of gemstones, sleek all-metal designs, updated cigar bands, and signet rings perfect for an engraving. Because a friend knows you like options. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
After my car wreck, there was a lot I didn't know.
I do know. My team knows injury law. We can help you understand all of your legal rights so that you don't get cheated.
DM Law knew what to do and got me $500,000.
Mike's got this.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
At Straight Talk, we know the holidays are your time to say
Yes.
So why put up with a wireless company that makes you say
Out of data?
Or
no service here?
Switch to Straight Talk and say yes to real unlimited data on a reliable 5G network covered by Verizon. And with a free 5G phone when you activate select plans, someone else in your family can say yes! Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Based on RootMetrics State of 5G Report, United States 1H 2025. Experiences may vary. Not an endorsement of Verizon. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
Nobody had to tell your grandparents not to drive while using their typewriters. Why should it be any different for us kids and our cell phones? Distracted driving was the cause of more than 3,000 deaths in 2022. Come on, we're smarter than this. Let's put down the phones and focus on the roads. Drive safe, everybody.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Get ready, Chiefs Kingdom. We've got a powerhouse lineup of guests this season. Mitch Holtis, Dayton Hughes, and Josh Klingler bring you insight from the booth to the field on weekdays and game days. Insider scoops from Nate Taylor and Josh Briscoe keep you up to date all week long. Former linebacker Derek Johnson, and oh yeah, two-time MVP Patrick Mahomes. Don't miss a minute all season long right here on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan.
It's week 9 of the NFL. It's time we talked about it. Less than 30 minutes, or just over 30 minutes, until kickoff of the noon slate of games. Let's break them down right here, right now. We begin with Bears-Bengals. Chicago's actually a 2.5-point favorite on the road in this game, and I know we were just visiting with Drew Nixon, our resident Bengals fan here at the office. But I can't really get behind the whole Bengals winning this football game thing. You know, the Bears should have won against a lowly Ravens team last week. I know that Lamar Jackson was back, but they're still really banged up defensively. The Bears laid a bit of an egg. They are going to be without quite a few guys. They're going to be without DeAndre Swift, their starting running back in this one.
Last week it was still ended up being Huntley. They ruled
Lamar. Oh, that's right. You're right about that. It was Huntley.
So, yeah, it was even worse than you're talking about.
You are 100%. You're right. That was the Thursday night game. Gosh, I got him confused in my head. You're right. It was against Tyler Huntley. That's even worse. DeAndre Swift's not going to play in this game. Neither is Luther Burden. But I still think the Bears can win this football game. I think expect a big day from Rome Odunze. And is it Loveland? Right? Isn't he the starting tight end there for the Bears now?
I mean, it's between Komet and Loveland.
Yeah,
they kind of
fair.
split duties.
That's
it's
fair.
similar to the Dawson Knox Kincaid situation.
That's not a bad problem to have if you're the Bears against the Bengals defense that has once again proven itself to be pretty bad. I like what the Bengals could do offensively in this game. Just depends on which version of 40-year-old Joe Flacco you're going to see. I'm not sure it's going to be enough. I like the Bears in this one.
I would say the Bengals, except they did rule out Joe Flacco this morning, and so they are going to be stuck with Jake Browning.
Just 3-pick Browning, huh? Okay. Yeah, sorry, Bears in that one. Might be wrong, but you never know. Vikings, Lions, Detroit. Does anything else need to be said? Sounds like J.J. McCarthy is going to play.
Yeah, he'll be the starter. They placed Wentz on season-ending IR, so I'm not a fan of McCarthy.
Nope. I'm not either. I don't know how that man was a high. I mean, I don't know how he got picked as high as he did. I never saw the appeal. I watched that man at Michigan for 3 years. It didn't impress me. He had one of the best defenses in college football in the last half century, and a running back attack that was incredibly impressive with Blake Corum. Why did we think he was going to be the dude? I don't really understand it. If I'm J.J. McCarthy, just throw the ball to Justin Jefferson. Just find 18, give him opportunities in space, and see what happens.
He needs to take a play out of Joe Flacco's book and throw 27 targets towards Justin Jefferson.
Exactly. Just one of those, bleep it, Jettis is down there somewhere. Is it going to be enough to win the game? No, I don't think so. I still think the Detroit Lions are the best team in the NFC. They'll win this one and advance to 6-2. Panthers, Packers. The Panthers have been a little bit more interesting this year, right? Give them a ton of credit. This was a football team that before their loss last week was above 500, actually. The Panthers have finally gotten their heads out of their rear ends and decided to go with Rico Dowdle as their feature back. Chuba Hubbard is still going to get carries because they're still holding out hope on that one, but you got to go with the hot hand a little bit. Rico Dowdle and this Panthers team, they might be able to push the Packers a little bit, but Jordan Love just is coming off of the best game he's played all year. The Packers defense has really sort of gelled with Micah Parsons along that front of the defensive line. I'm going with Green Bay at home in this one. They're a 12.5-point favorite. I'm not super confident in them covering that 12.5, but I still think Green Bay gets the outright win.
Very fair. And then you have Bryce Young on the other side coming off of an ankle injury last week. He sat. They had Andy Dalton in, showed nothing.
Nope.
And so now you got Bryce Young, improves their offense back up a little bit, but the Packers defense and Micah Parsons just going to destroy this offensive line.
Yeah, I would agree. Chargers, Titans, Chargers. I would love to see a Titans win at home, but I'm not going to hold my breath. The Chargers have Joe Alt back. They've been playing better football the last couple of weeks, especially in that performance against the Vikings last week after really kind of stumbling and losing 3 of 4 and narrowly beating a bad Dolphins team this year. I have no faith in this Tennessee Titans team at all. They are running with an interim head coach now, which is of no benefit to a rookie quarterback in Cam Ward. LA on the road in Nashville. Falcons, Patriots. That's a noon kickoff game. Jacob's in the production booth today, rocking his Tom Brady outfit. Yeah, New England. I think the Falcons can do some things offensively in this game. Getting Penix back, you get Bijan Robinson involved. I did make a decision. I was having trouble with my tight ends in fantasy. Kyle Pitts was on. He was along the waiver wire. He was a free agent pull. I picked him up this week. So I'm hoping,
very good choice. The Patriots
hoping for some Kyle Pitts in this one. We'll see.
The Patriots linebacking core sucks against tight ends, so Pitts should have himself a day.
Well, we kind of know what that's like a little bit here in Kansas City. We've had some trouble with tight ends in the past, for sure, with our linebacking core. But Patriots are 6-2. They're 5.5-point favorites. Drake May is the guy I would say is at that upper tier with Mahomes in the MVP conversation right now. I know that Matthew Stafford's playing good football. Baker Mayfield has really hurt his case the last couple of weeks. Jonathan Taylor has been great. Daniel Jones. But right now, I think the two guys at the top of the heap are Drake May and Patrick Mahomes. I anticipate Drake May being able to continue to put together great performances and get this Patriots team to 7-2. Hey, Jacob, you'll be proud of me. Last week, I said, I don't think the Buffalo Bills are going to win their division. I think this Patriots team has an easier schedule than Buffalo does. If Buffalo loses to the Chiefs today, it's the Patriots' division to lose.
Yeah, I mean, if the Bills do lose tonight, it makes a way easier path to winning the division for the Patriots. And everybody's bringing up this talk about the schedule. People were, we were a bottom 3 team 2 years ago, bottom 5 team last year. And it's like, we have the easiest schedule, or second or third easiest schedule for a reason. And going into the season, people knew this and still said the Patriots were going to be a 5-win team. So they're overcoming their expectations. They got their win against the Bills. They have a couple tough opponents coming back up towards the end of the year, and next week as well against the Buccaneers. That'll be a good matchup. It'll be a true test. But the one test they've had this year was the Bills, and they they beat them. So
Exactly.
you can only beat who's in front of you, and they've done a good job with that.
No question about it. Right now, that NFL Coach of the Year race is a two-headed monster between Vrabel with the Patriots and Shane Steichen with the Indianapolis Colts. It's going to be fascinating to see who ultimately comes away with that award. We'll get to the other sets of NFL games here on the other side of the break. You're listening to After Hours, 913-586-7965 is our number. After Hours, Logan Weber, Jacob Mustard, 96.5, The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan.
Hey, football fans, picture this. You bet on your favorite player to score the first touchdown in the game, but his teammate scores instead. If this happens, BetMGM wants to give you another chance at the end zone. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second instead. That's right. Bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you win. If your player scores second, you get your stake back in cash. With BetMGM's second chance offer, you have a chance to keep the fun going after the first player crosses the goal line. Try a first TD score wager with confidence today. BetMGM. Make it legendary. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Good morning, Casey's Country. Darn good coffee's now 49 cents when you buy any breakfast sandwich or burrito. Some are calling it a great deal. I call it sensational. I'm so sorry. Bad joke. Good deal, though. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. See store for details.
Hi, I'm Lacey, your friend and jeweler at Shane Company. And yes, I'm actually a jeweler. I bring dream engagement rings to life every day in our jeweler's workshop. When I hand set your diamond into your ring, I think about creating a piece you'll wear for a lifetime. I pay attention to the smallest details and treat every ring with the same care and craftsmanship, no matter the size or price. Come check us out at your nearby store. Our engagement rings are made with love from our hands to yours, because a friend knows your love deserves the highest quality. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
I woke up this morning feeling like I was coming down with something. Cough, congestion, headache. My first thought was, nope, this can't happen. I have big plans this weekend. So I took Mucinex Kickstart. It provides all-in-one and done relief with a morning jolt of instant cooling sensation. Thanks to Mucinex Kickstart, I didn't even need to cancel my weekend plans. If you start feeling cough and congestion coming on, take Mucinex Kickstart for relief with a kick. At your favorite retailer. Use as directed.
Oh, no.
Ah, that's the sound of someone who's misplaced
My debit card.
their debit card.
Where'd I leave that thing?
Not at the gas pump, or the checkout counter, or the roof of your car. Now, if he has the Chase mobile app, he can use Card Lock.
Wait, I could just lock my card.
Yep, just a few tippy taps on his phone, and that sound? That's peace of mind from Chase.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take. But it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. For free information and to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, simply go online and visit DRA.com or call 800-455-9311. 800-455-9311. Again, that's 800-455-9311.
After Hours here on 96.5 The Fan. Logan Weber alongside my producer, for this morning's program, Jacob Mustard. We're breaking down week 9 in the NFL. We just went over Vikings, Lions, Bears, Bengals, Panthers, Packers, Chargers, and Titans, and as well as the Falcons and the Patriots. Let's get into 49ers Giants in this football game. Expected pretty big performance potentially out of Christian McCaffrey in this one. The Giants, no Cam Scatterboo. It's going to be Jackson Dart and Tyron Tracy leading the way. I think this Giants football team is fun, but I don't expect them to have a great deal of success in this football game. As banged up as the Niners are, they are still the better football team on paper, in my opinion. No Brock Purdy. It's still going to be Mac Jones leading the way for San Francisco. The 49ers, despite all their injury issues, should walk away from the Meadowlands this afternoon as a 6-3 football team with a pretty good shot at making the playoffs still.
Yeah, they should. They just got to survive the MetLife turf, and Purdy is officially active. He will be in a backup role, so Mac Jones will be the starter. I mean, I don't know how much longer the Mac Jones effect is going to last. He looked really good the first couple of starts, and he's been kind of trending down ever since. You wonder how long Shanahan's going to wait to pull the trigger and put Purdy back in.
Right. Somebody in the text line just said Bo Nix or Matthew Stafford. I don't really answer fantasy football advice all that, but I would go with the Rams. I would go with Stafford in this game, playing against a really bad Saints team. The Texans finally have a little bit of momentum behind them.
And
they're
the
also
top 5 defense.
Exactly. They got the reigning Depoy and Derek Stingley, and the Texans are at home in this football game. Broncos have been lighting the world on fire offensively the last couple of weeks, but you have to imagine that the proverbial pumpkin is going to rear its ugly head for that offense eventually. I don't think they're an elite unit to that extent the way that they've played the last couple of weeks. I would lean towards Matthew Stafford. Speaking of Bo Nix, how about Broncos-Texans? Houston's coming off of their best performance of the year this year, beating the Niners last week 26-15 at home. C.J. Stroud had 300 yards through the air in that football game. He's finally starting to find a groove a little bit with Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, along with Nico Collins. What can those guys do against this Broncos secondary, which features some really, really talented players? Riley Moss has really kind of come into his own this year at the corner position, playing opposite of a guy like Pat Surtain. I still lean towards Denver in this game on the road, but I wouldn't put him. I wouldn't start Bo Nix over Matthew Stafford if that's where we're looking to go with that. But I would still lean Denver to win this game. Colts Steelers. I'm going with the Colts. I've seen enough at this point. They're the real deal. I think that they're probably going to be the 1 seed in the AFC at this point. They're playing in a bad division. That's the benefit. Jonathan Taylor is friggin' ridiculous. And Daniel Jones is playing a caliber of football that none of us thought he had in him. I'm going to go with the Colts to beat the Steelers. And like Drew was saying, I mean, somebody in the text line was poking fun at him, but if the Bengals beat the Bears today and the Steelers lose to the Colts, the Bengals will be 4-5, Steelers at 4-4. 9 games might be enough to win this division. And there's an expectation that the Bengals could get Joe Burrow back towards the end of this month, maybe early December. And if they're still hanging around, everything's still right in front of you if you're Cincinnati with a win and a Steelers loss today. Jaguars-Raiders. Jaguars. Not because they're a good football team, but because the Raiders aren't. They are not impressive at all. Travis Etienne should have a better day in this one. If Trevor Lawrence can refrain from turning the football over and Jacksonville can continue to do what it has done this year and forcing turnovers against a team that is prone to it and a quarterback like Geno Smith who's prone to it, Jacksonville should come away victorious in this one. They're a 1.5-point favorite. I would honestly like to cover that. I would pick Jacksonville to cover at 1.5. Saints, Rams. Rams. No other conversation to be had about it. You know, the Saints are going with their rookie QB, is it Tyler Show? I'm not sure how you Shuck. I'm not sure how you pronounce that last Shuck. Good for him. Not against a team like the Rams, though. Look for this front four of LA to tee off a little bit on the rookie from Louisville. And then you've got Sunday Night Football, Seahawks Commanders. This is kind of an interesting one. Jaden Daniels is going to play, right?
Yeah, he'll be back. It's going to be a fun one. It should be, at least. If not, I mean, hopefully it's not a flop of a game, but it has the makings of this is either going to be one of the best Sunday Night Football games or one of the worst.
Yeah, I mean, getting Jaden Daniels back, he's going to have Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel at his disposal. You're coming off of a lackluster performance against the Chiefs, an opportunity at home to bounce back. At 4, you win this game, you're 4-5. You lose, you're 3-6. It feels like it's in that must-win category if you're Washington. To go from an NFC Championship appearance a year ago to just not making the postseason in year 2 with Jaden would be kind of demoralizing, I would say, if you're a Commanders fan. I'm going to go with Washington to win this game at home. I can't really give you a rhyme or reason. It's just a gut feeling that I have in this one. Seattle has been uncannily good on the road this year. They're undefeated, 3-0 in away games. I don't see that trend continuing either. I'm going with the Commanders. Final game I've got, Monday Night Football, Cowboys, Cardinals. Well, Kyler Murray's not playing. They're going with Jacoby Brissett. And there are rumors swirling that Kyler Murray is healthy enough to play in this game, and they're still going with Jacoby Brissett.
They said something like they're going to use Murray as like a gadget player. And then there's also now rumors that they're going to sit him as a healthy scratch because he's getting traded. So
yeah,
there's just a ton of stuff going.
Neither one of those sounds good for your future quarterback prospects in this league, Kyler Murray. Being used as a gadget quarterback as a veteran. Like, if you're a rookie being used in gadget sequences like Lamar Jackson was when he first got drafted by the Ravens, that's one thing. But when you're in year 5, year 6, and you're getting used as a gadget guy in favor of Jacoby Brissett, might be time to see the writing on the wall there in Arizona. Give me the Dallas Cowboys, the way that Dak has been throwing the football. CD, George Pickens, Javonte Williams has been great. The Cowboys defense might be just getting bailed out by bad quarterback play where they don't have to hold a team to under 30 points because the offense will do that themselves. 913-586-7965 is our number. The pregame show for the Kansas City Chiefs Buffalo Bills game here on 96.5 The Fan coming up in less than 15 minutes. We will come back one more time and give you our preview of this 325 matchup between two bitter AFC rivals. Coming up next, Logan Weber alongside Jacob Mustard, After Hours, 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Get ready, Missouri. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming soon. Starting on December 1st, new customers in Missouri can get up to $300 in bonus bets when you make your first $5 bet. From touchdowns to three-pointers, with FanDuel, any play can be the play of the game. With live betting, you can even get in on the action after the game has already started. All on an app that's safe, secure, and easy to use. Visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to learn more. And you'll be all set to bet when FanDuel goes live in Missouri on December 1st. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri. Play your game of FanDuel, the #1 rated sportsbook app. Must be 21 and present in Missouri. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Offer starts 12/1/25. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG.
Hey, Zach. Are you smiling at my gorgeous canyon view?
No, Donald. I'm smiling because I've got something I want to tell the whole world.
Well, do it. Shout it out.
T-Mobile's got home internet.
Whoa, I love that echo. T-Mobile's got home internet.
How much is it?
Look at that, Zach. We got the neighbors' attention.
Just $35 a month. And you love a great deal, Denise.
Plus, they've got a 5-year price guarantee. That's 5 whole trips around the sun.
I'm switching! Me too!
Yes! T-Mobile home internet for the neighborhood.
Donald, you still haven't returned my weed whacker.
Carl, don't you embarrass me like this, please.
What's everyone yelling about?
T-Mobile's got home internet.
And Donald's got my weed whacker.
Yes, T-Mobile's got home internet. Just $35 a month with auto pay and any voice line. And it's guaranteed for 5 years.
Beautiful yodeling, Carl.
Taxes and fees apply. See T-Mobile.com/ISP for details and exclusions.
You've got a ton of equity in your home. You're sitting on a gold mine. You could do so much with all that cash, like travel, invest it, or pay off debt. But you can't touch it unless you sell your home. But you really don't want to move. And besides, homes are sitting on the market a long time these days. You're trapped, right? Not with TrueHold. With TrueHold, you can cash out your equity in as little as 30 days. But listen, you don't have to move. You can stay in the home you love as a renter. That's TrueHold's Sell and Stay program. Cash out your entire home's value and stay put. TrueHold even covers property taxes, property insurance, and essential repairs. Imagine using that equity to travel, invest, or pay off debt. And you can stay in your home. It's brilliant, especially in this slow market. Get your all-cash offer now. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-555-2085. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-555-2085. That's 800-555-2085. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-555-2085.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Just about 3.5 hours as we all anxiously await kickoff between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. Josh Briscoe, Danon Hughes, Mitch, and of course Josh Klingler are going to be with you guys in less than 10 minutes for pregame. 3:25 kickoff on CBS. It's going to be Nance and Romo calling this game between the Chiefs and the Bills. And I mentioned that I was going to give you my prediction of this game today, and I've sort of opened up with it a little bit more. I mean, if you kind of read the context clues of some of the prop bets that I put in today, I think the Chiefs win this football game. Crazy stat, but it would actually be the first regular season win for Patrick Mahomes against Josh Allen. He's 0-4 against him in the regular season, but he's 4-0 against him when it comes time for the postseason. I think the Chiefs win this game. This feels like a 31-20 sort of a game. I don't think that I just can't see James Cook having a great day on the ground. This Chiefs team is so good at slowing down the opposing team's running back that it's going to put pressure on Josh Allen. And I still expect Josh to have a pretty good day, somewhere in the vein of, 220, 230, 240 yards passing, maybe a couple of touchdowns. Chiefs force a turnover of some kind, whether that be a fumble or a pick. But Mahomes, I see a 300 passing yard, 3 touchdown sort of a performance. The running game is going to be kind of slow, I would say, but I like that trio of guys, Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, and Xavier Worthy, being able to make things happen. This is going to be a statement victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. They'll get to 6-3. Buffalo's going to fall to 5-3 in this game, and the Chiefs are going to have everything they want right out in front of them. especially if Denver falls to Houston today, as good as Houston's defense is, then you're staring at a Broncos team at 6-3. I think the Chargers beat the Titans, so they'll be 6-3. Chiefs are 6-3. And with 2 matchups still coming up against Denver and 1 more against the Chargers, this division all of a sudden can become the Chiefs to lose once again. And on top of that, you still are in position to get a top-tier seed come playoff time. It's going to be hard to catch Indianapolis at this point with their schedule and the fact that they're 7-1 at the moment, but you could still possibly catch the Patriots. Not sure you want to, because that would mean that the Bills are still in contention for the division, and I would love to live in a world where the Bills don't even win their own division and they have to go on the road to a wild card game and really go through a gauntlet if they want to see the Chiefs potentially in a divisional round or an AFC championship game. But I like the Chiefs in this one. This offense is humming. This defense has quietly been one of the best units in football. They are great against the run, and quietly, they're a top 3 team in the National Football League in terms of passing yards allowed. They are giving up just 177 yards through the air per game, meaning it's going to be a difficult day for Josh Allen and that lackluster wide receiver core to move the football down the field. I like the Chiefs, folks. 31-20 is my final prediction for this afternoon's game out in Orchard Park, New York. I would love to see that be the final result, but more than anything, just a Chiefs victory. For my producer, Jacob Mustard, I'm Logan Weber. Thank you guys for joining us here on this morning's program. Thanks for getting involved in the text line. As always, it is greatly appreciated. Coming up next, Chiefs pregame show. Josh Briscoe is going to be leading you guys, getting you set for Chiefs Bills here on 96.5 The Fan.
You're listening to After Hours, brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
BetMGM is coming soon to Missouri. On November 17th, sports fans in Missouri can pre-register and get up to $1,500 paid back in bonus bets if their first bet loses, plus an additional $100 in bonus bets if they deposit before December 1st. Enjoy a betting app that was designed for game day, with features like live bets, same-game parlays, BetMGM reward points, and surprise boosts dropping in your account all throughout the season. It's everything a sports fan could want in one app. Pre-registration is coming soon to Missouri on November 17th. BetMGM, make it legendary. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 and older only. Missouri only. New customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements and minimum deposit of $10. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire in 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Pending BetMGM's licensure as a mobile sports wagering operator with the Missouri Gambling Commission register for a Missouri online sports wagering account 1117. BetMGM's